Hey, what's up guys, Soldier Knows Best here, the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. If I can pick it up off of this slippery desk. But this is a fantastic all-around phone, and if you want to see everything that this phone can do, make sure you do check out my full review. I'll leave that link down below in the description box and also at the end of this video. But for this video, I'm just going to be talking about the cameras and my experience of using this phone with the cameras over the last couple of months. So let's first start off with the front-facing cameras. So on the front, you do have two cameras. You have a 10 megapixel wide-angle camera, then also you have an 8 megapixel kind of portrait mode camera, or the depth camera, that's what they're calling it. And so this is going to help with your portrait mode selfies, to really help with that edge detection. So when you take one of these particular type of photos, it's all about that background blur and keeping your subject sharp and clear. And I find that the S10 Plus does a great job at that. Even when you do go and turn up the background blur up all the way in the settings, it still does a great job without trying to blur in my ears or anything around maybe my jacket or my backpack. And for some people, it may be your hair. That extra depth camera seems to be doing a good job at making sure that you keep yourself separated from that background. And then Samsung didn't just stop with trying to make their portrait mode selfies better, which a lot of companies do. They've actually improved the video quality, so now you can record in 4K with the front-facing camera. And for this particular clip, I am using the phone on a stabilizer, so it's a little bit more smoother than it would be if I was just holding it handheld, but you can see the bump up in quality here. And so because I mostly just use the front-facing cameras for portrait mode selfies, that's pretty much it that I want to talk about. But let's move to the back of the phone and take a look at the rear-facing cameras. So on the S10 Plus, you do have three cameras. You have a 16 megapixel ultra-wide angle camera. Then also you have a 12 megapixel wide-angle camera. And also you have a 12 megapixel telephoto camera. And so let's first talk about the look of the photos that you get. And so from all of these photos that I'm showing you, you will see in some of them that Samsung is definitely a little bit heavy-handed when it comes to the saturation and also the sharpness. Now, it's gotten better over the years, but it still is there. And it's really when you compare a picture taken with the S10 Plus to a picture that was taken with the iPhone XS Max, where you can see a big difference in kind of what these two companies are going for as far as the look. And with these two pictures, if you look at the iPhone first, you see when the blue sky meets the top of the trees, it definitely is a very smooth kind of transition from the sky to the trees, this blue all the way through. Where on the S10 Plus, you can see it gets very bright there when the sky hits those top of the trees, and it just feels overblown with light. And then when you look at the grass in both of these photos, you can see that on the iPhone, it's a little bit more neutral, a little bit more calm. And then the grass on the S10 Plus is saying like, hey, I am grass, look at me. Like, it's a really big pop in color. And to be honest with you, I like that. Like, again, if you're looking at the photos side by side, it's clear to see that the iPhone did a better job all the way through with the highlights, and also when you look at the details and the shadows. But when I'm going to be mostly just posting my photos on social media like Instagram, and most people using social media are probably going to be using it on their phone or their tablets instead of like a big widescreen monitor for your computer. And so you don't really need to worry about like people zooming in and trying to look at all the detail of your photo. They're just going to quickly look at your photo for a few seconds and move on. And I think that's kind of what Samsung is gearing their photos to look like. And so I definitely know that some people don't like it and some people do. So it's going to be a personal preference. But I just think for me, when I'm viewing these pictures that I've taken with the S10 Plus on the display that the S10 Plus has, which is a nice bright display, and then also just viewing it on social media, I think they just look fine. Now, when you want to look at other aspects with the rear-facing cameras, the one that I find myself using the most is going to be that ultra wide camera. Now, this photo is taken just with the regular wide angle camera, and it looks nice. It looks good. You know, you can see some good detail in it. But when I switched over and took that same photo with the ultra wide camera, you can see a world of difference in just the information that you have. Like, you're really able to kind of give your viewer the experience that I'm experiencing, where I was surrounded by all these big trees just all around me. And I just really couldn't quite capture that using the wide angle camera, but this ultra wide was definitely able to do that. Then moving over to video, I find the same characteristics that you get with the photos in just the regular video mode, where you're going to have that saturation and that sharpness turned up a little bit. So again, it does depend on how you like that, whether you like it or not, but I find that the video does look good. But one thing I just started recently playing around with is the new HDR10 Plus recording mode. So you have to go into the settings to turn this on, and unfortunately a lot of displays and devices can't actually play back this content, so I'm just going to be showing you how it looks on the S10 Plus, since it does have an HDR10 Plus display, but it looks great. And so when recording in this format, it just really feels like everything in the video comes together. The contrast, the details in the shadows. The saturation, even though it's still a little bit turned up, it just feels like everything gels together and the overall image looks great. So I can't wait for more displays to be able to show this type of content, and I will start recording more in it. But for right now, I can definitely appreciate it on this phone. Now let's move on and talk about the camera software, because I think this is a very important piece in any smartphone camera, because this allows you to do a lot of extra things that other competitors can't. And so in the S10 Plus, you have a lot of things to choose from, especially with just scrolling through at the bottom, all those different modes that you have, including the new Instagram mode. So this allows you to take a photo or video and then post it directly to your Instagram account, which I do a lot. So I do like having that extra feature. But also, if you just want to go into pro mode to be able to have a lot more control over your photos, you can do that as well. And then there's little things like the camera software being able to identify things like this lamp that I was interested in buying. I can just take a picture of it, and using Bixby, it'll be able to do a search, and I was able to actually find a website that sells it. And then it's just being able to do stuff like being able to scan a photo or a business card or a book cover, for example, just within the camera app. And then with the front-facing cameras, you can still use AR emoji, which I haven't used in a long time, but it looks like it has been improved. And even though Samsung hasn't been talking about it that much, I am going to start to play around with it a little bit more, because it does look to be a little bit more detailed. So anyways, little things like that that kind of just add up to make the entire camera experience better. And so just with wrapping up this video, I am happy with the cameras on the Galaxy S10 Plus. Now, it's still really early in the year, and I definitely think it's going to get some stiff competition, which it already has been getting from the likes of the Huawei P30 and other different devices that are going to be coming out soon. But for right now, I think this has some really solid all-around cameras. When you look at the actual performance, especially with the portrait mode selfies, with the video, especially with HDR10 Plus, and having some of the most complete camera software, you can't go wrong with the cameras on the S10 Plus. So this is just my take on these cameras. Leave your comment down below with what you think about this phone, especially if you already have it. I want to hear what you think. And also be sure to follow me on my social media networks and subscribe to me here on YouTube. But like always, I do want to thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.